What is low light photography? Low light photography is basically what it says it is. It's taking pictures in low light. Now, some people think it's impossible to take pictures in different situations. I've heard people say, oh, no one can take a picture of that. I can take a picture of anything. If there's any amount of light, if there's a smidgen of light, you can take a picture of it. One thing that you would need is a tripod. Having a tripod is very important for your camera. It's very important for you as a photographer to own a tripod, to own a good tripod. A brand that I use is Bogan. They're a little pricier than the stuff that you can find at a store, you know, like your shops, and you got these crappy little tripods. Those aren't worth it. You know, you can spend a little bit of money on a piece of crap, or you can spend a decent amount of dough and get solid equipment that's going to help your pictures. You know, if you can't afford to buy the cheap one and the expensive one, buy the expensive one, because you're going to end up buying both if you buy that cheap one. So, you know, get the good stuff, get the right stuff. A solid Bogan tripod, or a solid tripod of another, you know, brand. As long as it's solid, it's sturdy, it's going to hold your camera. It's not going to blow in the wind, and it's not going to buckle every time someone touches it. You know, make sure you get something like that. My tripod is adjustable at so many points. It opens, each leg is individually open and closed. I could use it as a monopod. I can set it up on different elevations and adjust each leg individually. I can open them individually. I can spread them super wide. It's well worth it to get a solid tripod if you're going to be doing low light photography, because holding your camera steady is an absolute necessity in low light photography. But when you have your tripod and you use your camera, you mount it to your tripod, what you're doing is you're setting your camera so that it's not moving, so that your camera you can use a slow shutter speed to take in the light and let it come in for a long time without your camera moving and blurring your picture. If your camera moves, your picture is going to be taken very blurry, or it's going to have a lot of motion, camera motion in it, which is going to cause blur. So what you want to do is steady your camera, use a slow shutter speed. You can take a picture at night. You know, you use your tripod, make sure that your subject's going to be still, and you can take a picture of it under low light situations. If you don't have this really bright light and you want to take a picture of something, like a little statue or a little something, and you just don't have enough light at your 1/25th or even at 100th of a second, or you know, you can't hold the camera steady at a 60th of a second or however, what you do is you just get a tripod, set it up. You know, as long as there's light hitting it, you can leave that camera open for a second, 2 seconds, and you're fine. You know, your tripod will take care of business and you'll have it taken care of. So low light photography is essentially the art of taking pictures in lower light than is, you know, commonly standard for taking pictures in. A cityscape picture in the night is a perfect example of low light photography. You know, being able to take a picture where there's, you know, apparently no light. Someone who's not skilled with a camera could not take a picture of it. When you learn the art of low light photography, you will be able to take pictures that, you know, other people just can't. They just can't do it. I took this picture of the city that I grew up in, Fontana. And you know, each of the exposures, the picture is a tapestry of you know, I believe it's 8 different pictures put together. But each picture was, I believe it was 10 to 15 seconds long. So you know, that picture is you know close to 2 minutes of exposure, 10 seconds at a time. Put it together, and you have this beautiful beautiful picture. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. And it is, you know, I was up on a mountainside or on a hillside for, you know, a solid, you know, 20, 30 minutes to actually get it all together and wait for that perfect time and put it all together. And, you know, putting it together took longer than that. But it's one of my favorite shots. It's a low light picture. The picture I took of LA, I was in a very dangerous spot doing it. It was the ghetto, talking about the ghetto. It was ghetto, but you know, I had to get to where I had to get to, and I don't recommend you doing that. If you can avoid going into the ghetto and pulling out $5,000 of equipment to take a picture at nighttime, avoid it. But I was lucky. I made it out, and I got a great shot, and that's what I do. But yeah, that's low light photography right there. You know, pictures of Christmas lights, pictures of, you know, buildings that are lit up, pictures of you know, if you want to take a picture in Vegas of those huge casinos, and you're like, oh, I want to show my friends who've never been to Vegas these huge casinos in Vegas, and then you take a picture and it looks like hell. This is not enough light. But if you know how to do some low light photography, you'd be doing all right. So some people would approach low light photography by bumping up their ISO all the way as high as it can go. and then, you know, slowing their shutter speed down. And in some situations, that's what you got to do. If you're shooting in a club, there's not a lot of room for a tripod a lot. You know, you just have what you have. So, you know, what you want to do is you bump up your ISO as high as you need it to be, and then you got to steady your camera. Personally, I can shoot at a 1/5 of a second, which not a lot of people can. I have a stance that I do that I created, and I'm going to share it with you right now. Basically, you're going to steady your feet, and you can't see my feet, but it's kind of, if you ever seen like a karate, you know, in karate, you know, imagine your feet like that. So you have a very sturdy base. You have what's called the horse stance, but then you cross your arm across like this, and so you're holding on, and you create this platform here, and then you set your camera right on that platform, and you steady yourself, and when you shoot, you can make for very steady shots. So your camera's steady here, you're balancing it with your hand, and then you shoot with your finger without moving. And I personally can do a 1/5 of a second. Now, I don't know anyone else who can, but I don't know anyone else who uses that stance. Like I said, I created it. I just shared it with you. If you want to try it, you know, it's steady feet, steady base, camera here on this platform that you created, and you shoot. And when you shoot, try and take a deep breath, hold your breath, and shoot. Kind of like a sniper, like you see in the movies, you know, they're like, take a deep breath and hold it so you don't move the gun. Well, you don't want to move your camera, so you know, that's how you do it. You take a deep breath, hold your breath, take your shot, exhale, do it again. So in certain situations, you cannot use your tripod. That's the way I would do it. Bump up your ISO, steady your camera. You might be a 30th of a second, you might be a 60th of a second, but you'll get better at it. Or you might not just have it, you might be shaky. You know, oh well, there you go. Another low light situation, which is, you know, it's low light, but it's also mixed with flash, would also be in a club or something where what you can do is you set your camera to shoot so that your exposure is correct with a slow shutter speed, let's say a 30th of a second or a 10th of a second, and then you fire, but you have your flash is going to go off and light your subject, which is in the foreground. Your foreground is going to get exposed by your flash, but your background is getting exposed by the time. Now, the time's not going to affect your foreground subject so much if they're not in light. So if there's all these lights going on in the background and someone's in, you know, relative darkness, and your flash hits them, but the background is now being exposed by the slow shutter speed, the flash goes, it comes and goes, it's gone. And then it's no longer going to be lighting them up. So the time's going to be the slow shutter speed's going to be getting all the light absorbed from here. They're in the dark, so they're no longer affecting this picture, and your flash affected them immediately. So you have basically two kinds of light going on. You're using flash and slow shutter speed, low light situation deal there, and you're going to get this nice picture with depth to it. So yeah, you know, there's shooting pictures in low light is art in itself. And when you know how to do low light pictures, and you can bring, again, you know, if you can show somebody something that they can't see with their eyes on an everyday situation, they love it. You know, people enjoy that, and you know, you will enjoy it, and you know, your evolution as a photographer, it's coming, baby. You know, if you're watching these videos and you're learning and you're taking the time to do that, you know, I'm telling you, I know that you got it, and you're doing the right things, baby. You're doing the right things. Just keep going in that direction. And you know, things are going to be good. Things are going to be great for you. Photography is like anything else. You practice it, you study it, you get better at it. No shit. No bullshit, man. You study it. It's like anything else. Anything you want to know. If you study it and you practice it, you have no choice but to get better at it. So, you know, keep it up. I'm proud of you. So do your thing. And, you know, any comments, cool, you know, except like I said, don't hurt my feelings. Don't say bad things about me. Please, don't do it. But, you know, I'd love to hear from you guys. I appreciate it. I love it. Take care, and I wish you guys the best.